Alright, been using this blaster with the modded NES ROMs for a while, and it's been working great. My issue is this has weights in it and a much better trigger. So let's see if we can move the guts from this and into here. And I will know there are LED mods for this that you can just change out the LED to make it work, but I want to just see if we can do a simple swap of the internals. All right, we got both of our blasters here. Just a couple of Phillips head screws on these. Let's go ahead and get these taken apart. Like I said, I know that there's a LED that you can just swap out on the end of the original Zapper to make it work, but I also want to see what the differences are just internals wise, and that because I know these have weights inside of them. These ones do not. And my big thing is really it's the trigger and the weight of the whole thing. That is my issue, and it might just come down to a simple thing of maybe we just move the weights over, maybe we swap all the internals. You know, these are much smaller screws. We have another screw in there. Vinyl side panel piece, our lens came out of the front. You know, I don't know why I was expecting there to be more inside of this. Let's compare the internals of the original. So like I said, I'd like to see if we can just do a quick swap of these. I doubt it with the way that that's mounted, because I'm pretty sure that this one mounts slightly different in there. But I can also see why this trigger feels, I don't want to say like absolute garbage, but it's pretty close. So here are the weights I was talking about. Just a huge chunk of metal in those just to make it feel a little bit better on the inside. And that is some really old tape holding this one together. We're going to need to definitely retape that. But yeah, the internals on this one are definitely a lot more to this. Okay. So, got our whole trigger mechanism spring that has a tab on it for the release, which is why it pops back and feels so much better than this one does. On the looks of it, I need to desolder these two wires. Probably need to strip back a little bit more of this sheathing so that way we can shove all of these components inside of here. And then it is going to be this piece right here is going to be our main thing. And honestly, we might... No, I don't want to hack up the original wiring other than desoldering these two wires, so we're just going to desolder these wires off of this switch and pull the board and the cable out and see what we can get done from there. Okay, so we got all of the pieces desoldered, so we have, this is out of that one. This is off of the other one. It actually just has a connector on the end. We pull the bail out. This is where the LED lives and the shield around it. Pull the trigger module out, and it'd be a little too easy if it just fell right into place on there. We obviously know that's not going to happen, but this kind of gives us an idea of we can loop some cables back behind and around this. And got the wires desoldered off of both of those. Kind of the main thing I'm looking at now on this is these lining up. And this is actually much smaller than the original. But it looks like if we can line the LED up still right about here, so right behind that housing, which is a little closer than the original. It looks like if we can get it set right here, there's a small little curve right there. Just a small little curve right there on that we might just be able to pop that guy in and get it to sit and work. So thinking maybe just for testing, we just hot glue that in place right there, hook it up, and see if it works. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this kind of retaped back together since it came apart. Our wires are definitely long enough to make it to our connector, so I'm going to get these wires resoldered back to this trigger. We're going to get out the hot glue gun. We're going to hot glue this in place right there just to hold it and kind of make sure we get everything lined up. Also easy to peel back apart. Get this piece taped back together and we'll get it hooked up, plugged in, and going. Okay, so we got that in place. Let's see if I can zoom in on it for you. Not my best hot gluing job, but it is in there and it's inside of the weight, so that'll help block some of the light. Had to trim back some of the sheathing to get everything to fit down underneath the switch. But that is all of this back inside the original blaster and fitting. So all we need to do is get the covers back on top. First screw back into place here just to hold this. That is the only hidden one. Our 2 smaller screws back in up top. Like I said before, there are modifications you can do, just swapping out the LED and not needing to do everything. That we just did, but considering I had the other blaster already and I was having issues with it, my issues were literally just the feel of it. There was nothing wrong with it other than just the way that it felt compared to the original. I just wanted something to feel pretty close to the original one. I guess I actually probably could have taken the other one and just added some weights to the inside of it. You know, pulled an AliExpress. And also just the textured side of these versus the original saying Nintendo, and I don't think, yeah, they don't quite line up. That was more of a curiosity thing, just doing that. And if you notice my previous video, my orange one, which was my original, and this is actually a non-working one that I had laying around, mostly because the circuit inside of here, something is damaged on it. And it doesn't quite work. So we're gonna swap those around. Anyways, that way we have an original, I know I keep calling it a blaster, and technically it's a zapper, but it's an original NES Zapper, swapping the guts out from one of the Tomy light guns, which are made by Hyperkin, if I remember correctly. And that's getting all of that swapped in. I'll get this plugged in and tested, make sure everything's working right on it. Alright, and that was swapping the guts from one of the Tomy blasters into one of the original NES ones, just so we have the weight and the feel, and I really enjoy the clicky trigger on the original. So that was this swap. Everything is working on here as long as you're using those modified ROM files, which we're running through the EverDrive on the NES. Anyways, we are North Pole Retro at northpoleretro.com. If you like this content, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you in the next one. If you got a suggestion for a video, leave it down below, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks for stopping in, and have a good night.